Hey everyone, so the First 5 Years Fund has a new poll out, and this really just reaffirms something that we've known is an issue for quite a while now. But like many things, the coronavirus has really exacerbated this problem. So voters now view childcare as an essential service like healthcare and education. Now, right away, I want to point out a problem that I see with this title. Childcare should be geared towards education. Early childhood education is so important. Anyone that spent any time looking at the research knows that those early years of life are some of the most developmental times for the brain, and that's where you can really make a huge impact. And so I don't like that childcare does not fall under the umbrella of education, at least not in this title. But we'll take some wins when we get them. So the coronavirus pandemic has opened voters' eyes to the importance of childcare for families and the economy. Now voters are ready for sweeping federal action. This is phenomenal. The results of a new national poll from the First 5 Years Fund reveal the clear impact the COVID-19 crisis has had on voters' views of Americans' childcare system and the need for significant public investment in meaningful childcare policy solutions for working families and providers. No longer can lawmakers and candidates for office view childcare as a nice to have service when voters now clearly see it as something that is essential for children, families, and America's economy. So, if you notice, childcare is often something that I would put with homelessness in the sense that politicians really, while it is a huge problem, politicians don't really talk about it. And the main reason is that they don't think that it affects really constituents that are going to be likely to vote for them. That if we're talking about homelessness, homeless people just don't vote as often, and so politicians don't really talk about issues that are important to homeless people very often, unless it's affecting other constituencies as well. I feel like you see the same thing with childcare. There are a lot. That's why when we talk about education reform, a lot of even progressive politicians will talk mostly about college, free college, canceling student debt, which is really important. Don't get me wrong, but I actually think that we should be talking a lot more about early childhood education. That is why when you saw Cenk Uygur running for office from the Young Turks, when he ran for Congress, he centered things like fixing homelessness, early childhood education, and that is because he had a different funding source than many other politicians do. No corporate money, no PAC money, none of that. And so I think that that's why we saw him centering some of these issues that a lot of politicians kind of ignore, even politicians that I really like. So let's dive into the numbers. Regardless of party, voters overwhelmingly say high quality, affordable childcare for families with young children is an essential service just like healthcare and education. A majority of voters, particularly women, say COVID crisis has shown us how essential it is and that we build a childcare system that makes care available and affordable to all families who need it. And now, I think that if we want to dig into the weeds of this a little bit, I think that what we really need from a specific policy standpoint is we need universal preschool. So this should be available to everyone in the same way that K through 12 currently is. We should just expand that to include preschool. And there should also be at the very least, a public option for childcare for other ages. If we want to go full, like in the sense, if we're talking about it in healthcare terms, like a single payer sort of thing, where just everybody that is what they have for childcare, like for 0 through 12. I think that would be really that is something I could definitely get behind. But regardless, we need some sort of universal system that costs no money at the point of service and that is available to all people. That's what we need. Across party lines, a strong majority of voters believe childcare is at the very least important to get the economy going again. And so this is really important because this is where I feel like you'll start seeing a lot more politicians pay attention to this. So 30% of all voters view it as essential, 18% of Republicans, 32% of independents, and 40% of Democrats. When it comes to very important, 37% of all voters, 36% of Republicans, 29% of independents, and 41% of Democrats. So over 80% of Democrats view it as at least very important, 40% of them essential. Those are awesome numbers, and it's criminal that the fact that the Democratic nominee isn't centering this issue. We even see, though, with Republicans, we're seeing what would that be? Quick maths. 54%? Yeah, right. Yeah, 54% of Republicans at the very least view it as very important. That's a majority. I mean, we should see all politicians talking about this when we see numbers like this. And if we go down even further, most voters continue to believe that federal funding for quality early education from birth to age 5, including childcare and preschool, should be increased. And so that we've seen these numbers go up from May of 2017, November of 2018, September of 2020. We've seen that this has been this has been a trend for quite a while now, that this is what people want. A possible federal program receives strong support. Congress would provide funding to states to expand their existing childcare programs so that every working parent who wants to do so could afford to send their child to high-quality childcare, early learning, or pre-kindergarten program of their choice. That's phenomenal. That is so good that so many people support it. And the final thing I want to leave you guys with, 83% of battleground state voters think that this is a very important issue. And I think that when you see that, it's the fact that neither Donald Trump or Joe Biden, at least that I've seen, that, and when they're not putting it, like maybe they do have something in their websites about this, but this should be front and center when this is something that is affecting so many people, and it has been for so long. There are many areas of this country that could be classified as childcare deserts. There is so few opportunities for parents who get childcare for their kids. This is something I really think should be talked about a lot more, and I'm glad to see that we're starting to see some polling on it that shows that this is something that resonates with a lot of people. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you disagree with anything I said, please leave a comment down below, but if you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, and have a great day.